is Sandra Morris. I have a question I want to ask you. Before you eat a snack, before you eat your dinner, before you eat any food at all, do you ever just think, where does it come from? What's in it? How's it going to make me feel after I eat it? Well, one day that crossed my mind as well. I went to this particular grocery store and I bought a box of cereal. Cereal just happened to be my breakfast for dinner. And as I did so, it didn't taste the way it usually tastes. So I decided to view the ingredients. And as I viewed the ingredients, I noticed there were created material inside the food, inside the cereal. So that drew me to do a little research on it. So today, I'm going to discuss with you about the thoughts concerning the genetically engineered foods from the US, from Japan, and from Nigeria. First, I want to let you know what genetically engineered foods are. Genetically engineered foods are foods that have taken part of a plant, part of an animal, and entered into a cell to create what they call genetically engineered foods. Also, with the genetically engineered foods, they also call it GMO, which is genetically modified organisms. They're telling us that the possible benefits of genetically engineered foods are these. They're more nutritious, they taste good, disease and drought resistant, meaning they won't need as much water or fertilizer in order for it to grow, less use of pesticides, increased supply of food, and it will actually have an increased shelf life. Fast growing plants, the plants and the animals will grow faster than usual. And it says food with desirable traits like potatoes. It won't carry such a cancer trait as they say potatoes carry. And some people have expressed concerns concerning these genetically engineered foods or genetically modified organisms, which are creation of foods that can cause an allergic reaction or toxic reaction, unexpected or harmful genetic changes, things that could take place in your body, inadvertent transfer of genes from genetically modified plants or animals, which that's what it is. It's genetically modified. And it says foods that are less nutritious. And it also, the taste is not the same either. The United States has been credited as the largest commercial producer of genetically modified foods. The U.S. regulatory is the Coordinated Framework for Regulation of Biotechnology, says way back in 2012. Now, when I realized there was a great change in the foods, it was maybe a year or so, but not realizing this thing has actually been progressing since before 2012. It was just my alert for me to be enlightened. The United States is not a signatory of the Carnegie Protocol of Biosafety. For a genetically modified organism to be approved for release, it has to go through the USDA, the FDA, and the EPA. Now, the USDA and the USDA evaluates the plants to determine the plants from the weeds. That's what the USDA does. The FDA reviews the plants that encounter all the ultra food supply, and the EPA regulates the genetically modified plants with pesticide properties. That's what they do. It is important to know, not as of yet, they have not anywhere site of proving anything's proven harmful when it comes to genetically engineered foods, or like I said, genetically modified organisms. Groups such as the Center for Safety, the nonprofit Science Advocacy Group, Union of Concerned Scientists, Greenpeace, and the World Life Fund have expressed concerns about the FDA's lack of requirements for additional testing for GMOs, lack of required labeling, and the presumption that GMOs are generally safe. They're generally safe. And some of the groups have questioned that the FDA is too close to certain companies. And what they're saying about too close to certain companies is that they feel like by them being close to these companies, that they let things pass or they let things go on because they're too close to them. Japan is one of the leading importers of genetically modified foods. They actually have over 200 foods that are genetically modified. In 2019, an expert panel under they call it the Ministry Health of Labor Welfare, MHLW, Ministry Health of Labor Welfare. And then they announced some of the foods, the types of modified foods. Japan has decided to allow genetically modified or edited food to be sold to consumers without safety evaluation, unless the process involved meat selected criteria. So if it has a meat selected criteria in it, then we can go on and pass it through. You don't have to do any to check and see if there's any safety or if anything's going on. You can just pass it on through as long as there is a meat selected criteria. Consumer groups had voiced position to the draft recommendations, which were released for public in 2018. This was in 2018, using the slogan, "No need for genetically modified foods." They weren't in agreement with the modified foods. The Consumer Union of Japan joined other groups circulate a petition. They circulated a petition for regulating the cultivating of all gene-edited crops, which is genetically engineered foods or genetically modified organisms, and safety reviews and labeling of all genetic edited foods. Nigeria is also a place that has adopted the genetically modified foods. And one of their foods that they are very keen on is the legumes. They're called cowpea, COWPEA, cowpea. And that food is very nutritious to them, very common to them. According to Professor Abraham Abagar, Executive Director of the Institute for Agriculture Research, the IAR, the Institutional Agriculture for Research, at the Ahmadu Bello University. That's where they do their research as well. Now I have discussed with you US, Japan, and Nigeria, the positive and the negative of genetically modified foods. In my conclusion, know that genetically engineering or modification it's a widely accepted practice all around the world. It's widely accepted. But we also know that there are opposing views of it as well, which is what we said we were going to discuss, the positive and the negatives of it all. But not much fact to support not using the genetically engineered or genetically modified organisms. At this process of GE, food may currently move forward. We can continue to follow up on this journey because it is a journey. It's been going on for a while and it's still continuing. So I say this. I know I will continue to pay attention to what's going on in this. But I ask you again, before you eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, or anything, will you think about where it comes from? What's in it? how to make you feel, how it will make you feel for the long haul, not just for the moment, but for the long haul. If you never thought about it, I hope you do now. Thanks for listening.